Record button. Now wait a couple of seconds while the reel gets up to speed. Okay,
Yes.
'cause it's not automatic. It takes a little
No.
time. Yeah, now we're good. Now we got speed.
Oh,
And we need clappers. And action.
and action.
How are you, Miss Melinda McKinesy?
Really good. How are you, Mr. Tom Wise?
I'm well, thank you. I'm ready for another episode. I think we're up to episode 11
Ooh, 11's a good number.
of Let's Unpack Some Shit.
That's right. Let's do it. Let's
Let's
unpack
do it.
some.
Huh. I feel very philosophical today.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the kind of stuff that's pumping in my brain. What's your list look like?
My list is, of course, I want to do, if we can, tip of the day and sexy talk. And then I have the best dating life, best job interview, and crying in public.
All right. Job interview. Okay. You can tell the show prep is about 90 seconds before we start going. That's good though. So it's a proof that we're believe it or not, this is all extemporaneous.
Right?
Right?
Has anybody picked up on that yet, you think?
You know what? And I think we have a unique format. I was thinking about this, and then who emailed in and made a comment about the show feels like they're eavesdropping on a conversation.
Stephen Kessler.
Stephen Kessler, I love Stephen. That kind of encapsulates the show.
Yeah.
You know, I've got things I want to talk about. You've got things you want to talk about. Bounce it off back and forth, and maybe hopefully somebody finds it interesting and entertainment. You know, especially these days where people are locked down. Locked down, I tell you.
I know. And who doesn't want to be a fly on the wall when people are having very personal conversation?
Absolutely.
It's the dream.
Locked down without the ankle bracelet.
Ooh. Yeah.
Boom.
So let's hear
let's
yours.
do yours. Let's do your, I want to do crying in public.
But I didn't even hear your topics at all.
Oh, okay. My topics. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Male drivers, 6 decisions, be unoffendable.
Oh.
You make me hard. Scrabble your brain.
Okay.
And his/her version.
Ooh. Okay. All right. You said you wanted to do crying in public, so let's just jump right into it. So I've been in New York 8 years now, and you know, you hear like, oh, you're not a New Yorker till this, and this is what makes you a New Yorker.
And you're a cop.
Yeah, right. And it is a tough city to live in. You do have to hustle. It is not easy to live here. You public transit alone, you either have to buy an expensive car and find street parking, or you've got to ride the train. It's a hustle, right?
Right.
So one of the things that people were always saying to me, and it's, look it up. They say, look it up. You're not a true New Yorker until you cry in public.
Really?
Yes. And the funny thing is, from day one, you know how I've been. I've really behaved like a tourist. I walk everywhere. I take pictures. I'm looking up, which you should never do if you're a local. And I've seen plenty of people cry in public. Plenty. And at first, oh yeah, walking around the city, people openly weeping. And at first, of course, I would notice. And now when I see someone crying, I'm like, yeah, gotcha, high five. So for me, it happened 3 years ago. I'm very excited to say I'm a true New Yorker now. I was having a super bad day. And this is what makes it so funny, is that in New York, when you get to a certain point, you don't care what anybody thinks about you. You are really just trying to survive. And this is why I like it here. I walked my dog in my pajamas and nobody's looking at me going, lady, you know, they're like, good for you walking the dog. That's cool.
Oh, what's next? Wearing a hairnet to the 7-Eleven?
It doesn't matter. That's the thing. You could do whatever.
Are there any social norms? Are you on a plane in flip-flops now?
I mean, here's the social norm according to me in New York. Be who you are. Do what you want. You don't have to impress other people.
You don't have to respect anyone else.
I did not say that. You have to be able to take care of yourself first. And New Yorkers learn that, because if you don't, you will crumble, right? And so I was having a bad day, and things were not going right. I missed a train. I was running late. It was late at night. I was supposed to meet a friend. And then another friend had called me that I was getting into a fight with, and we just got into a fight. And I hung up the phone, and I started walking, and I just started openly weeping.
Wow.
as I'm walking I think I was in Manhattan, and here's the thing about it. I wasn't embarrassed because the New Yorkers that looked at me were like,
I got you, baby.
it's all right, you're good. And you actually felt better because people were kind of like, it's okay, you got this. And it's the first time in my life, of course, I've ever done this. I think if I would be openly weeping anywhere, like in an airport in another city, people would go, ma'am, you know,
you'd be calling people.
what's the problem? And here they're like, yeah, it's hard to live here.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, so everybody can relate. If they haven't cried, they felt like crying at least.
Yes.
Right?
And it's not a sign of weakness to cry here. It's more accepted like, yes, it is hard. Get it out, feel your feelings, move on, or get out of here. So have you ever cried in public other than obviously, a funeral or something,
I would like to say yes. I wish I had a memory of crying in public. I think that's, it's important to be vulnerable, and it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. But I mean, I thought about this one time. I said, I really don't cry very often, but I will cry occasionally.
Yeah.
For, thinking back about some loss or something that happened.
Yeah.
Usually that's not in public. So I haven't had that type of experience because maybe I'm not outside enough. From here to the car.
In improv class, did you ever have to do a thing where you had to just kind of cry on cue? Did you ever have that?
I never had crying, no.
Okay.
No.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
I'm less than a person. I'm less than a person in your mind.
You know what, though, Tom? I think most people don't cry in public. We try very hard when we're out in the world to be a certain person.
Well, I mean, outside of a funeral or something, where we're all crying in public.
It's different.
Yeah,
that's a different vibe. People expect you to cry.
Right. And they're hey, he's weird. He's not crying.
And that's what's so funny, I think, about this city, because if I were in any other major city, like in Chicago or LA, if I was crying, I don't think people would go, it's okay, we got you. They'd be like, did someone harm you? Are you all right? Not one person asked me if I needed help. Everybody was like, it's okay, I got you.
No, maybe they weren't thinking it's okay. Maybe thinking, hey, good luck with whatever's troubling you.
Maybe that's what it was. In my head, in my brain, people were like, it's okay, we got this.
Well, that's nice. I think that, I mean, New York's huge. What is it, 8-10 million people in the whole area?
8 million.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot of folks. I was talking to my daughters, my twin daughters. We were talking about sizes of cities. 10 million in China is nothing.
Right.
They've got 1.3 billion people. To have a city of 12 million people, that's just one of many. You couldn't name name 7 cities with more than 10 million people in China and they've got plenty of them. I wonder how crying is seen over there.
I think the social norms are very different there. I think it's more adhering to not standing out. So I don't know if it's accepted there. I just thought it was interesting here because I kept hearing about it. And then when it came for my time to cry, I wasn't ashamed or worried. I didn't stop. I didn't hide in a corner. I was like, you know what? I need to get this out. And then I felt better,
So, but you couldn't restrain yourself till you got home? It was just, it struck you as you were getting out of a cab, or you were just walking down from the whatever? And
I missed the train, and I was meeting a friend, and so I went back up to get some air because I knew the trains. It was going to be a while, so I was going to walk to another train station, and I had it, and I was frustrated, and I was hurt, and I just started crying, and
All right, I have a question. Let's say you're an actress, right? Do you have something you can think about to trigger tears?
Yes.
Really?
I can cry like that. I mean, I don't want to brag, but I've had a lot of bad stuff happen to me. I've had
my life's been shittier than yours.
I've had some bad. I mean, you know what? During one of the shows, we can go into it, but I think I've shared this with you before. My biological father was murdered. He was shot and killed. And whenever I'm in a scene and I need to cry, immediately when I start thinking about him, everything just, blows up. So for me, that's kind of my thing where I'm like, I still feel a lot of feelings. I'm sure I haven't processed it properly because how do you really?
Hey, you got that in your back pocket now.
I mean,
why ruin a good thing?
It's a thing. It's a, they have support groups for people that have been involved in murders and stuff. And I tried to do that, but I will say I found it more difficult because there was so much depression. It
Ugh,
actually, you know what I mean? It wasn't
yeah,
really helping me. It was really harming me. And yeah, so anyway, crying in public.
I like it. Check that box.
Check. So what would you like to talk about, Mr. Philosophy?
You know what? How about let me just get one out of the way. Everybody complains about female drivers, or people don't complain much about anything, I guess. But used to be female drivers or Chinese women drivers.
True.
Chinese,
That's a,
Chinese driver. Well, I've got a situation that's uniquely male drivers.
okay.
So I live in my street. We go from 2 lanes going eastbound to 1 lane after we pass a certain stop sign or stop light. There's a stoplight, and then 2 lanes merge into 1 lane. Okay,
Yes.
and you get about 50 yards to make that merge.
Yes.
And if you're a regular, you know it's coming,
You
and
know.
you know that the left lane is going to disappear pretty
You know.
quickly, right?
Yeah.
So I drive a kind of a larger truck, so I stay in the right lane unless I see some semi or something in the right lane. Then I may get to the left lane, so I know I could pass this semi as it's gearing up to get into the lane. But I also know that I'm going to be making a right turn in
Yes.
about a mile to go down my street. So I said, you know what? I don't need to get in front of anybody, because even a right turn, you got to slow down to make the right turn. And the speed limit is 45. Everybody does 50.
Right.
Well, here's this guy. I'm in the right lane, 3 deep. He
Yes.
pulls in 4 deep on the left lane. Everybody takes off. It's a race. This
Yes.
guy guns it to get in front of me.
Yes.
Only 50 yards later, they have to make a left turn,
Yes.
stopping all the flow of traffic.
Yes.
So he's got to wait for that traffic to clear in order to make a turn to get into his mansion.
Yes.
I go, you son of a bitch.
Yep.
So, because he knew he was going to stop traffic,
Yes.
and he wanted to get in front of me
Yes.
to stop me so I could wait with him while he makes his left turn.
What part,
That's the worst person. That's the worst person on the planet.
what part of this makes you think he cared at all if he had to make you stop? Because
He didn't care, but that was his intention, was to get in front of me. He could have tucked behind me, knowing that he's got to make that turn coming up in 18 seconds.
I
So
will. Yeah. No, it's terrible.
here's the beauty of driving an old car. I've got an old Ford Expedition, 315,000 miles on it. I don't give a shit about that car.
Right.
It just I'm using it as a utility truck.
Yes.
So when I see him doing this maneuver, I speed up like I'm going to ram him into like I'm not paying attention.
And did you get any reaction?
I don't know, but I, the truck and we've been through a lot. So I know that truck like the back of my hand. And I was able to, at the last second, miss his right rear bumper, and then go around him. I did a quick calculation. So I gave him a little, hopefully he wet his pants a little bit as he saw me barreling down on him.
I will say this from having a car and driving in Florida. I've lived in a lot of states. I will say my least favorite state to drive in is Florida, because there seems to be a super level of aggression and a super high level of inconsideration. One of my worst driving memories is anytime in Florida, if you put your turn signal on, the people behind you will literally speed up. It's a sign for them to speed up.
It's a sign of weakness.
So my sister would get mad at me because I wouldn't put my signal on. I said,
right. Oh, no, that happens all the time. You want to change lanes, that guy who's 50 yards back, that's his moment to accelerate.
Yeah. So
let me tell you this, though. When I came down to Florida in 84,
yes.
How long have you been in Florida now?
I am in New York now. But when I was in Florida, I lived there.
Do not correct me. I will shut this thing down. I will shut it down. I got the button.
I lived in Florida, I believe 15 years. Yeah.
Okay. So I've been there 35 years or so, right? Because in Chicago, everybody was mildly aggressive. You're always jockeying. There would never be, the lanes were always this. What?
But they were smart in Chicago. They knew.
Yeah, you're moving. I used to come down to Florida, and there'd be 17 cars, two lanes going one way, and then a left turn lane. So you had 3 lanes, 17 cars in the right lane, and 2 cars in the left lane. I'm going, what's with these people? Are they just half asleep? And then about 10 years later, everything started to even out. But it was crazy when I first drove down there. I was like, this is nuts. People are they even paying attention? I think that everybody was 90 years old back then.
Yeah, it's
Now
not a
I'm
great
90.
place it's not a great place to drive, and the aggression with driving in Florida, I think, is pretty high. That's probably why the insurance rates are so high, right? With
Yeah.
cars, it's not a great.
Well, we're having week endings to these topics. And that one fades away. And that one's done to nothing. And that one's to us. That's a
That was that.
standstill. So what's your next one?
Okay.
We're flying through this. We can hit 15 minutes left. We're halfway through home.
Okay. All right. I have so many things I want to talk about. What about
Dating life. Tip of the day. Sex tip of the day.
All right. You want to do the sexy talk?
Sure. Yeah, baby.
Let's do some sexy talk. All right.
I'm here. You're here. Let's get it on.
Let's just do this thing. It's what day of the week? It's a Wednesday. We can do whatever we want.
It's hump day.
So for sexy talk, I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Whenever you're in either a dating or a relationship, it doesn't have to be a long term, but any kind of like a couple thing, right? Man, woman, 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 man, man. Have you
4 men and a lady?
4 men and a lady, which is classic move. Have you ever considered when you're in that type of a relationship to be more bold and more aggressive with the things that work for you sexually, as opposed to kind of hinting and hoping they'll figure out what you like? I don't think a lot of people talk about sex and go, if you put the hand here and do that, you know what I mean? When you're in that situation, do you find yourself speaking verbally or trying to do a body language thing, or you just kind of hope they'll figure out what you like?
You mean besides just grabbing her hair? And,
I mean, that's classic. We all know what that means when you grab the hair.
All right.
We all know.
You know what? It's an interesting dance. All of it is a crazy dance that you never really. There's no classes. There's no rules.
Nope.
We all have kind of an idea of what's going on. Basically, men are just grateful that anything's happening. So
yes,
hopefully there'll be the first 3 times any which way that you are comfortable doing that. I'll be down with, but then maybe some minor adjustments as we get along.
After the first 3, though, you got to get.
Yeah, we're not. This is not the time to go in a bunch of corrections and start barking out orders. I mean, well, I'm saying, let's say I'm doing something, and if it's uncomfortable, you should say something.
Thank you.
But if it's a fine tuning, it should be, maybe let's talk about this after the fact, and then because they want to know that information, and I want to hear that information, vice versa. Absolutely. Hopefully.
But that's what I was going to say. That was my next question. Have you ever been with a partner that you tried to fine tune and they just weren't interested in the fine tuning?
Yeah, see, that would be a deal breaker for me. I've come to the point now that it's like, if I can't get that part right, then what are we even doing here? I'm going to be gone.
Yeah.
What's the point? I'll get 19 shows in. I'll get this mic figured out.
Well, as far as like
so I'm bold. So I'm bold, and I'll have conversations. I'll have gentle conversations. My punch list isn't long, but I'm like a sponge. I'll listen and hopefully respond.
That's so great. I will tell you from the conversations I've had with women, that's really not traditionally something that happens. A lot of women aren't comfortable discussing what they want. I'm not saying it's good, but a lot of women aren't comfortable, so they kind of hope, which is kind of crazy to me because that.
I read a disclaimer. I have it on a business card.
Yes.
If you want something specifically, please ask for it. I will. This is a no judgment zone.
Right.
Now, I may silently judge you, but I will not openly ridicule or judge you. It's like, all right, I've never done it with 9 Barbie dolls watching, but let's give it a go.
Because here's the thing: what other part of your life do you not communicate what you need?
You go to a restaurant. There's a menu. I told you about my app that with that menu, that'd be perfect. I did this one time with a lady.
Yeah.
She sent me a link to like 50 questions, and it identified compatibility. She wanted me to fill it out. She filled it out, and the computer mashed all the figures together and said, "Yeah, pretty compatible." And although I was a little bit surprised that it pointed out the specific places we weren't compatible, I go, "Well, that can be kind of dangerous."
Oh.
We should probably hide that information somewhere. And but anyway, it was very interesting that app actually exists, or that even that website that would compare your list and his list and mash them together before you mash them together.
I mean, that's a time saver, right? If you could,
Absolutely.
I love that idea because I've been with people before that I liked them in all the other areas, but maybe the sexually we weren't a great matchup, and you got to determine like how important is that. And I feel like having sex with a partner is pretty important because it's something supposedly that you share with them and nobody else, right?
Yeah.
And
well,
so
until you find out.
you talk about everything else in life. You talk about what you want at the grocery store, how people drive, what to buy. Why wouldn't you talk about your sex life?
Would that be a deal breaker if you had something like something really specific that was off the main menu?
Okay.
Right? Off the main menu, like you liked your head to be. I want my head to be rubbed like back here for 8 minutes, during sex or whatever that thing would be.
Sure.
But he's not responding. He's not interested. He can't figure it out. It's nails and it's not palm and it's not this and it's not that. I mean, is that like, does that break the deal?
My first reaction to that is yes, it would be a deal breaker because I think it would feed into other things too. If you're not willing,
it's kind of a tell a little bit, yes, but outside that being a tell.
Yeah, if you're not willing to do something I'm actually communicating with, then that's going to happen in other things in our life too. And to not be sexually satisfied with a partner, I think would cause fights in other areas of your life as well, right? Because you're going to feel some angst about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever had to ask for anything embarrassing? Like, look, baby, I really.
No, I'm sorry to tell you that I'm very much down the middle.
Okay.
With a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yeah. Which is what makes sex so much fun because it's
right.
It's a mystery. It's a surprise. You don't
surprise.
Know. Yeah.
Wow.
What?
I didn't know it came in that size.
I didn't know.
And I'm not saying who's saying that, the man or the woman.
I mean, we're all different sizes and all
under the good Lord made all sorts, shapes, and sizes.
Yes. So, well, I thought that was very interesting.
Yes.
I think it's very important to talk about your sex life. It's just as important as money and finances and everything.
Oh, if you can't talk about things to your partner, then you're spinning your wheels. It's the slow road to nowhere.
Yep. Agreed. So that's good. All right.
Another topic that came to a brilliant halt.
Sorry.
Grinded to a halt.
I don't know if it's grinding. I think that we got some good information.
Oh, it's solved.
We solved the problem. I think it was a teachable moment. I think people are feeling more relaxed about now that we have given them permission to ask their partner.
Ask away. What do you take it? Don't take it to the grave, baby.
And it's not like you have to be sitting across from a table. If you're too embarrassed to make the eye contact, wait till you're snuggling or kissing and saying, you want to try?
Put it in a hat, 10 things in a hat. Baby, just put 10 things in a hat. We'll just pull one out.
Ooh,
huh?
That's kind of nice. I like that.
We'll put that in there. Well, that's crazy. Let's just try it anyway.
Let's try that. That's actually kind of adorable if you're uncomfortable having a conversation.
Yeah.
I like that. Very good. Well,
and then put on the hat and these glasses and this wig.
Well, I mean, that's another role-playing thing, which we still advocate. Role-playing is good.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. And you don't have to have costumes, but if you want to, I'm a fan of costumes.
I don't think I've ever done costumes.
I like costumes. It takes it to a different level because you're invested.
Yes, absolutely.
I
concur. Was that your topic or mine?
I just did mine. I did the sex talk. It's all you. We're look at how fast we're are today.
Tearing through it.
We really are.
We'll save 6 decisions for another time.
Okay.
And be unoffendable is a little philosophical. You make me hard.
Yeah, well, let's
Photos affect your play. His and her version.
Want to do his and
Scrabble your brain.
No? Yeah? No.
His and hers version. You want to do that one? I always thought it was interesting when I hear somebody complaining about somebody else, about their partner or about the guy they work with.
Sure.
I wonder what their version of reality would be. Right? Yeah. You're complaining a lot about Jack at the dock. Well, I wonder what Jack would have to say about you. Oh my God, he's so lazy. He comes in late, can't finish the damn thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and your version, the guy's version is he's all over my ass.
Right. I mean, I think perception is reality, right? We all have already decided the story in our head, whether it's accurate or not. And it took me a long time to learn that perception is reality, because we all come from very different places. What makes me furious may not necessarily make the other person furious. They may think it's absolutely ridiculous, but it's interesting if you can have that conversation and say, well, I try to say, if I'm getting frustrated about something, to whoever I'm talking to, like, I'll be explaining a predicament to my niece or someone, and I'll say, this is the story I told myself. And I'll say, and this is what it was. And then as I'm telling it, I'm like, but then as I'm saying it out loud, I kind of recognize that maybe I'm not exactly
I wasn't 100% in the right.
I'm not accurate, but it's okay to be wrong as
Of
long
course.
as you acknowledge it and you learn. So I've been wrong about so many things in my life.
And as long as you're not making an emotional, you don't attack somebody, and you keep your levels at 6 and 7 and not 9 and 10, then you can recover. But if you're living at 9 and 10 on your bad decisions, it's gonna be a rough. This is gonna be a rough life.
Yeah, and I really feel like that's what's happening on social media. People are having knee-jerk, big, huge reactions, and that's why there's so much infighting, because no one's willing to back down. Right at this point, everybody's like, "This is where I'm at."
I know. I'm just saying. When was the last time somebody made a change? I had somebody today. We're going at it on the mask thing.
Okay, yeah.
You've got a person that can't wear a mask. Well, maybe that person should stay at home. I mean, if that's truly the situation, that person should probably stay at home. Oh, so you're making them stay in like Alcatraz? They've got a medical condition. It's a pandemic. You should stay at home. The public will be happy to drive some stuff over to your house.
Yes.
You should be in home. I'm home most of the time, unless I have to go out for something. I'm not out socializing. I'm not out at the park. I'm not playing basketball. I'm not playing tennis. I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to restaurants. I'm staying home. So you got a sick person who doesn't want to wear a mask, or a potentially sick person who doesn't want to wear a mask, go to Publix. No, stay at home. Somebody will drive it over to you.
Yeah.
It's a weak way to say, I don't want to wear a mask because I feel infringed upon.
They're not being honest with themselves or with anybody else. They're trying to act like they're being held back when really we're all being held back. So
nobody likes this. Everybody hates it.
Nobody I know is happy about it. And speaking of that, the thing we're speaking of, the reason I have this little keyboard player.
Oh, thank you.
And the hula hoop is because I have bought some things I wouldn't have normally bought because I'm home so much for the pandemic.
You make way too much money.
Oh my gosh. So yes, agreed. And so I've always wanted to learn to play. When we were younger, we had an organ and I had very fond memories. And I thought, you know what? Playing does not come natural to me, but I am really enjoying trying this.
Are you taking lessons?
On YouTube. I'm learning on YouTube how to play. That's why I wrote the keys down, because I couldn't figure it out.
You can get stickers,
I put it in permanent marker.
You know what? That's crazy. My daughters and I were just talking about that idea. We both had the same phobia as kids. I mean, I'll have to say that I can't talk a lot about things that I don't have a long list, but I remember I'd get a sticker that I wanted. A sticker that I wanted from Bubblegum something or whatever sticker.
Yeah.
And I couldn't commit to putting it on my headboard. I'm 7. I couldn't commit to the placement of that sticker on my bed headboard. So I never put it on anything.
Yeah.
My girls said they've got the same phobia. There's no way with a gun to my head am I using a permanent marker on piano keys. Look, just give me that marker. Without a second thought.
The day it came in, I was like, well, I can't figure this out. Where's my permanent marker? Because it's my keyboard. Who cares what happens?
I get it. You're right. I'm wrong. I'm insane. That's the way to do it. Who cares? You're not that keyboard bought and paid for. It's there to serve you.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, the irony is I don't have any tattoos because I can't stand the permanence of it. So it doesn't make any sense.
So are you learning songs, or are you learning the actual how to play?
I'm teaching myself just simply the keys and how to play. And so I've gotten myself to the point now where I'm watching the videos that they're little songs, but then they do G, B, D, F. And so I'm I'm having a hard time crossing over. They're showing you the proper way. I'm not.
That's a big move.
Yeah, there's a proper way when you have to reach over. And I've not mastered that.
What? That's way too technical. That's the wrong song to be learning.
Well, No, I'm just started with keys. I got myself up to songs. So what I've gotten to now is I'm never going to do it the proper way they're teaching online. I looked at several different teachers to see what they say about it, because they're saying the sound is smoother and better if you can reach over and do. And I have really long fingers, and I thought I could do it, and maybe because it's just not natural.
I think you've got that's a hard song. That's a professional move, is reaching over. Nobody does that.
Do I need to start at the bottom, or do I want to start at the top? I don't know.
As long as you don't get discouraged.
No, you know what? It's super fun. I laugh all the time when I'm playing it because I'm not very good.
So,
yes.
What song are you trying to learn?
Well, what I started doing was I thought it would motivate me if I played songs that made me.
Your Honor, she's not answering the question.
I'm learning. Of course, I did Twinkle Little Star and Row Row Your Boat, but now I'm trying to play Rise Up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And it's great because it's a slower song and it's easier. So my goal is to, yes, one day play. But for me, it's taking up some of that downtime.
Right.
Making me be a little bit more creative. I can do it in my pajamas. Doesn't matter what I look like. And the hula hoops, because hula hoops are fun. And it's an easy way to exercise in the house when you can't get out. I can watch a show or do whatever, and it's great because it terrifies the cats. They absolutely adore it when I'm using the hula hoop.
All right, you know what? I'm going to try to learn a song, too. I learned a song. I learned Don't Stop Believing. I taught myself from the YouTube.
Oh,
that was 4 years ago.
I'll write that down.
I've not tried another song since. I go, my gosh, that's ridiculous. So the song I want to try is one of my mom's favorite songs. I had the girls kind of teach me how to do it.
Yes.
It's Burt Bacharach, This Guy's in Love with You.
I don't know it.
You'll know it if you recognize it. But my mom used to sing it. It was a nice little piano piece, and there's a little something in it. Yeah. So
Okay.
I'll learn that too. Then we'll have a playoff.
Oh my gosh. Now there's the theme song handled. You and I will do.
Burt Bacharach will have a problem with me hacking his song as our theme song.
Well, we could do our own version. We could.
It'll be unrecognizable.
Then no one will steal it from us because it'll be our own music.
What was that? 67 push-ups 2 days ago.
That's amazing.
My goal is to get to 100 by the end of the month. I don't know if I can do it. I did 63 this morning, so I'm vacillating a bit.
I got to do that.
But 60 is good. 60 is a good number. I'm very happy with that.
All right. I got to write that down. I'm not doing push-ups. Do we have a tip of the day by any chance? Any tips of the day?
You can squeeze in the tip of the day, and then we're going to wrap it up.
The tip of the day. You know
squeeze
what?
In just the tip.
Yeah, well, it just depends. I'm so sorry. I know you can hear my dog barking. She's a 14-year-old Chihuahua.
It's very unprofessional. On my next podcast that I do by myself, it's pretty much of a blog talking about what your indiscretions were in the podcast just seconds earlier.
I fed her. I thought she'd relax, but she's just not having it at all. Okay, the tip of the day, I'm going to say, especially during these times when things are, very wacky.
Get a muzzle?
What?
Is that the tip?
No, the tip is to feel your feelings. Get it out, move on to something else. We're all feeling anxious. We're all feeling unsure about what's going on. You can tell with my dog, the stress alone with my dog. Feel your feelings so that you can go on to the next thing.
All right, I like that. Of course, I think that's. You know what? I was watching the Michael Jordan. I'm going to tie this in. I was watching the Michael Jordan documentary on Netflix. I'm sure I'd recommend it to you, but it would never get watched. But one thing that came out at the end of it, it's a 10-part series, about 1 hour each part. So it was a rather significant investment.
Okay.
But it's very interesting. The Chicago Bulls won the championship 3 times twice. So they won 6 championships in 8 years, which is just unbelievable. That's unbelievable. And that's mostly accountable to Michael Jordan.
Michael, okay.
They said that he was somebody that absolutely lived in the moment.
Oh. He
goes, I can't worry about a shot I haven't taken. I'll perform when the moment comes.
That's pretty great.
See how I tied that in?
Great. I should watch that show.
There's a lot of basketball.
I can see through the sporty stuff.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much all of it.
I love that. Well, that's what they say
No,
about.
you're not allowed to watch it.
Okay, I'll watch it now for sure. That's what they say about professional athletes or athletes in the Olympics, that they're so hyper focused and they've already visualized how they're going to win. And I think about that a lot, because don't you do that when right before you do a show? I'm always visualizing like how I think it's going to go and where I want to be, and all this stuff.
Well, I know that used to be very common in positive practice, for like high jumping and things like that, pole
Okay.
vaulting.
Huh. Well, I'm gonna have to watch this. His name is Michael Jordan.
Yeah, MIKLEGORD.
And he plays a sport of some kind with a ball.
He's a sportsman.
He's one of the sports. He's a sportsman. Listen, I grew up in a home of girls. My dad was in the military, so it was really my mom and us. We just didn't. Us girls played sports, right? We played volleyball and did stuff, but we never grew up watching like professional sports because my dad was gone. I just could give a rat's ass about that stuff.
But I understand that, but it does add a little bit of, it adds a little dimension to your enjoyment. It's kind of like Broadway plays or new type music. There's nothing wrong with it. It all depends upon, in my opinion, about how, mental you are about it. I mean, you got the Boston Red Sox hat, the Boston Red Sox bed sheets. Okay, well, that's a little bit too much. But as far as enjoying that dimension, because there's an interesting thing about sports is it's live drama. We know that a play is written and produced, and it's got peaks and valleys that are already figured out. We all know where this thing's going to end. You're watching the World Series, Game 7. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So there's an interesting entertainment value to that.
I mean, I've gone to Bucks games. I've been to the Tampa Bay Lightning games. I've gone to games, but people would have to include. It's not something I normally think of, but I do know this: if you don't paint your face, your team won't win.
That's a given.
So,
but you also have to care a little bit about sports in order to enjoy it. If you don't care, you're gonna they're just running around chasing a ball. Whatever. That's
with professional athletes, the level it takes to get to there is quite impressive.
It's incredible. I feel badly for them now.
Yeah.
I mean, the commitment. I mean, we got Tom Brady in Tampa, and he may or may not play. I mean, they may or may not have a season. They're starting to cancel a lot of college football. I mean, the baseball's starting to fall apart. Guys are coming up with COVID. Basketball seems to be surviving, but football is just, 20 guys, 22 guys in the field at the same time, just smashing. Right. So it's gonna be bad.
Yeah. Well, that's real happy. I don't know how to fix that. How do we fix that?
No.
Well, are
they a mask? If everybody wears a mask, maybe we'll get back to the normal soon.
You have to have the mentality that you're wearing it to help other people, so we can all move forward. And we're so spoiled, we just can't do it. We just can't do it. I'm proud of my New Yorkers. Even when I walk outside on my porch, I put a mask on. Everybody that's walking is wearing a mask. I think people here are used to living in the city, used to cooperating. I'm very impressed with New Yorkers because everybody wears a damn mask.
You want to be free, go out in the country somewhere. It's a social contract. We're going to live in tight quarters. And we're all going to try to be smart together.
Let's do this.
All right. Yeah. Is that a high note? I'm going to start putting flags behind me.
Well, I do think we need to talk about the carry cart, though. I don't know if not everybody's heard about the carry cart.
I think enough people have heard about it.
This dog, I'm sorry. The dog is banned.
We've got to wrap it up.
I am very sorry.
Put a little oil on that thing.
I'm so sorry. Well, she's going to be 15.
That's all right. God bless her. God bless her. I'm not bothered by her. And then we'll do our other topics next time on Friday.
We shall do all the other topics. And
well, you didn't go for that bait at all. My bait topic.
What was your bait topic?
You make me hard.
Oh,
I can't even look in the camera and say that.
Many bait topics. I fell for the wrong one.
All right. Until Friday. Thanks for unpacking some shit. My name's Tom Wise.
And I'm Melinda. And we really appreciate you.
Hey, and you know what? If you want a topic or maybe even come in as a third person, if you come up with an idea to be a third person like Patrick and Matt were, if you want to come in and, do a segment, a 3-minute segment, ask a question, you get something, feel free to contact us. We'll bring you in on Zoom. It'll be a blast.
Absolutely. I think Patrick and his garlic were a big hit.
Yeah. Well, we are. Yeah. We always get one thumbs down from somebody. I think one of your old boyfriends.
And I'm fine with that. Listen, if someone consistently gives us a thumbs down, they're actually
watching.
Time to go to the site to give us, like, hello, reverse psychology. If you want to upset us, ignore us.
Thank you.
Ding dong.
Ding dong. The witch is dead. All right, darling. Thank you.
That's another one in the can.
Oh, thanks for saying that. My tagline. Remembered.